Hey guys, you won't believe what these plastic 22 caliber rifles are going for these days. Stick around to find out. Welcome back, guys. This is Scott with the Average Joe's Armory, the channel for the Average Joe, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Remington Nylon 66. But not just any Nylon 66, today we've got the Bicentennial Commemorative Edition. Now this one also came with the original box, the original scope, and the original paperwork. Now at this point, some of you are probably asking, what's a Nylon 66? Never even heard of it. And for you, you're going to find out today. For those of you who already have a Nylon 66 or are very familiar with a Nylon 66, I'm going to encourage you to please share some of your information, share some of your knowledge in our comments section, because not only would I like to read that, but I know our viewers would like to read that as well. Now with that said, let's kind of dive right in and take a look at the backstory and the history of the Nylon 66. So going back to the late 1940s, early 1950s, Remington was really focusing on how can they cut costs on their production lines, right? How can they make cheaper guns, right? So with the shotguns, they discontinued the Model 31 and they created the Model 870, and that was released in 1950, and that was really successful. They were able to reduce production costs, on that model and actually pass some of the savings on to the customer as well. They also wanted to find an opportunity to do the same thing with their 22 caliber rifles. So engineers took a look and they looked at the rifle lineup and they said, the best way that we're going to reduce costs here is if we change the material of the actual stock itself. Now traditionally, usually rifles have the wood in stock, and they were going to be looking for a material that was cheaper to produce and also a little more flexible, but also just as durable and strong as wood. In fact, they wanted it to be even stronger than wood if they could. So Remington was owned by the DuPont Chemical Company, so they actually went to their parent company and asked for this compound or this material, and DuPont kind of went to the drawing board and they were able to come up with a lubricated polyamide nylon resin compound, very technical, right? But they called it Zytel 101. And they came up with this compound and they gave it back to Remington, and Remington got their hands on it and immediately started testing it. And they wanted to make sure, hey, can we mold this how we want it to be? Is it strong? Is it durable? Is it weatherproof? So they did testing between 1955 and 1958. And after a very successful testing campaign, they were excited to release the new rifle into the public in 1959. So with that said, in 1959, the Nylon 66 was born. So not only did this plastic rifle have, a plastic stock on it, but they took it one step further and they realized just how strong this polymer was, and they were able to make the receiver also made out of plastic. So now you had one piece of plastic with this Nylon 66 rifle. On top of that, the barrel was still metal, but otherwise virtually everything else was plastic. Now it was a 22 caliber semi-auto gas operated blowback system. It had, it took 22, long rifle. It was loaded through the stock of the gun. On top of that, it was very lightweight. It only came in at 4 pounds, 8 ounces. It was weatherproof. It was durable. It was strong. And it turned out to be actually really popular. So Remington decided to make even more of these models. They made 10 different variations and different models of the Nylon 66, and at a price point in 1959 of only $49.95, it was a hit. Between 1959 and 1987, they ended up making up a total 1,050,000 of these rifles in different variations and different models. So with that being said, that's a little bit of the back history of the Nylon 66, like where it came from, how it came about, and what it actually is today. So I know in the very beginning of the video I asked, you're not gonna, can you believe how much these things are going for? Well, I had already shared with you in 1959 that they started out at $49.95. Now today I've got a Bicentennial edition in front of me, And this one actually has the original price on the box of $73.88. Now, keep in mind, this is a pretty minty rifle that I have in front of me here. It was produced in 1976, and it actually has the original box, the original paperwork, and the original scope with it as well. Well, as I was looking at auction sites, I was noticing that these things were selling for the upwards of $1,500. Yes, $1,500 for a plastic polymer 22 nothing special rifle. It's pretty incredible. So I had to look a little bit further into it. And what I found is that, yes, they did make 10 different variations of the Nylon 66, but in 1976, for the 200-year anniversary of the founding of our nation, they actually only made 10,000 or so of these rifles. And when you go back and you think about it, for $73.88, you'd probably buy the rifle, maybe throw the box away, throw the paperwork away. Maybe you're not even using that scope anymore, and now that 10,000 number of models that are out in the wild really dwindles down, right? Especially if they're used and abused, if you say, they're not going to have that condition value right there. So I was seeing that these things were selling between like $1,300 and $1,500. Now, I'm glad that we got our hands on this one today, because I certainly wouldn't pay $1,500 for this package, but I know there's a lot of collectors out there that would pay that $1,500, if not even more, for this package. So when we got our hands on it, we were really excited to do a video and share it with all of you. Now, some of you are also probably thinking like, man, from $50 to $1,500, or even $73 to $1,500, that's a 2,000% increase. That's a pretty good investment if you ask me. But that's just it, is the lesson that can be learned here is that when you do have a rifle that maybe you don't know a lot about, maybe it's an older rifle, maybe it's a limited edition rifle, please take the time to do some research online. Take a look at some completed auction sales. Take a look at what y'all have and the condition that it's in, because before you just let that rifle go, it's really important that you understand what you have, because you might be able to get a lot more for it. And in this case, if you have one of these up in the attic or in your basement, or maybe dad or grandpa has one, you could get $1,500 for this rifle. So with that said, we love doing the research, we love doing the video, and most importantly, we love sharing it with all of you. We are a newer channel, so I am going to ask that you please take the time to like, subscribe, and ring that bell so you can get notifications of all of our future content. We really do value and appreciate all of your support. So with that said, this is Scott signing off with The Average Joe's Armory, the channel for the average Joe, and we'll see you on the next one.